Get prepared. We are entering deep and dark waters of SHTF. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. That's right, I made it back to the bunker. And I'm bunkered in, folks, looking at what's going on. The title of this video, Explosion of Explosive Stupidness. What is going on is crazy. Now, I misspelled it so that we could actually use the word mostly. And once again, this is looking at what is going on in our country with censorship, with lies, with stupidity. Folks, shit has hit the fan, has it not? Haven't we had enough? Well, I tell you what, a lot of people around the world have had enough. From my island brothers to our brothers of another hemisphere down under, people are having enough. Even up here in the United States of America. And oh boy, I've got some interesting thoughts on this. But I want to start with an explosion of explosive stupidity coming out of Vice President Kamala Harris. She thinks she's going to rip the Border Patrol over the horrible treatment of Haitian migrants. Number one, they're not migrants. They're illegal immigrants. They're illegal aliens here. They don't have papers. They haven't been invited. They're not here on vacation. They're trying to sneak into the country. They've been invited by others. And I don't know if the treatment is horrible or not, but we'll get into that. We're going to get into that. Right? Do I want the world to have freedom? Yeah, I do. Do I want the world to be a great place full of prosperity for everyone? Yeah, I do. But I don't want someone else to gain prosperity at my expense, at your expense, at America's expense. Because that's all we're getting from all these people flooding across the border. Everyone I know who's in a border state is putting up with horrible, horrible conditions now because of all these people flooding into the country and taxing our social systems, our medical systems, our supply lines. Shelves are empty in stores in many areas because of this influx. And even where I was at in extreme Northern California years ago, folks, we used to have literally illegal immigrants come up, fill their vehicles to the brim with American goods using American EBT cards and then drive that shit back home. That's how far they would drive, folks, to get free stuff and load their vehicles and clear our shelves. I was so fucking pissed back then, and I'm pissed now about it. But let's get back to Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States. Too bad she doesn't act like it. What is she doing, right? What is this fool doing? Is she on the border? Isn't she supposed to be the border czar or the person in charge? She wants to criticize what is being done there to try and contain this disaster, this humanitarian disaster that was created by the Biden-Harris administration. Co-created by people like George Soros and others who were inviting and paying for passage to get these illegals up to our border to then weigh on us as a country. So Kamala Harris, on the agent's use of as a horse-mounted agent to capture illegals, to capture these illegals. This is her quote. What I saw depicted about of those individuals on horseback treating human beings the way they were was horrible. And I fully support what is happening right now, which is a thorough investigation into exactly what is going on there. But human beings should never be treated that way. And I'm deeply troubled about it. And I'm also talking to Secretary Mayorkas today about it. So treating human beings, arresting them is wrong. It's horrible. But Kamala, what about BLM and Antifa? How they treated police and private citizens, Americans in 2020 during the riots, when they were beating people and beating police, murdering people and murdering police, committing arson, theft, looting. That was fine, I guess, huh? Right? Well, was it good to see that happen, Kamala? If that's not good, then why did you bail out those felons in 2020 and say they should continue their violent chaotic, anarchistic ways. Kamala's a hypocrite. She's a liar. She's a charlatan. She's a POS, a hoe, a puppet of the globalist anti-American power structures. And she wants to criticize agents for using horses to travel across difficult terrain in order to quickly and most effectively capture these people who are the problem, who have been sent here by other people who are problems. Because the Biden-Harris administration is so weak. I am so sick of these lying hypocrites and their fucking people in the media that allow them to say this shit without asking follow-up questions, folks. And here we have it down in Australia. I wanted to talk about people in Australia having enough of this shit. Enough of this shit, right? Aussies, they're protesting. And in some cases, they're being disruptive. In some cases, they might even be being violent. But I guess, you know, Kamala Harris should probably go down to Australia, bail them out, and encourage them to keep doing what they're doing. Folks, protesting, disobedience, and next comes violence by the government. What are the people in Australia doing, right? 20,000 people. A lot of them are these union workers, construction workers who have shut down the highway in a massive lockdown protest. 20,000 people, and they're shouting, "Fuck the jab, long live Australia." Sounds like they're nationalists. I guess that makes them, you know, Nazis, because anyone who's a nationalist is a Nazi. No. All Nazis were nationalists, but not anyone who's a nationalist is a Nazi. Same thing as saying a dog has 4 legs, but not everything with 4 legs is a dog. Don't use that kind of logic on the left. They will lose their mind, probably say you committed some sort of act of microaggressive violence against them, and they'll have to respond. Fucking idiots. They stink. They smell, these leftists. And speaking of that, I think they should clean up their act. We might just have a new product in mind for them.
Come on, man.
Thank you, Mr. T, for putting together that terrific product. I think the Prepared Mind Industries, TPM Industries, is going to start producing and promoting a lot of products out there that are just going to be really useful for us to use. I'm sure there's a whole entire line of beauty products by Nancy Pelosi. I'm sure there's a bunch of self-help tips by AOC. Oh, we're going to have some fun with this. We're going to have some fun with these people, folks. I love parody. I love parody. But if you're new to the channel, expect the unexpected. If you're new to the channel and you're on YouTube, be sure and hit subscribe. Oh yeah, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Folks, I talked about our brothers down under. How about our brothers in the island state of Hawaii? Folks, thousands showed up at the mandate-free Maui protest against tyrannical governance imposed on the people by the state of Hawaii. They finally had enough. And in fact, I was conversing with Dean, Big Dean, right before I came on live here, and he's like, you know, us people of color, we don't like this tyrannical shit either, right? We're patriotic too. Damn right, you're patriotic. And then, but people have asked, well, what about Hawaii? Why is Hawaii so far left? John, I know a lot of islanders. I know. I've met a lot of islanders, worked with islanders, lived around islanders. They just want to be left the fuck alone. And most of them are not partisan. They don't vote in politics. They just want to live their fucking lives. They want to go fishing. They want to do whatever the hell it is they do. I'm not going to tell you what islanders do. They know what the fuck they do. They're just like me and you. They're just like me and you. And they just want to be left alone. So they don't bother with voting. Who bothers with voting? Left-wing activist assholes. And oh yeah, there's plenty of islanders that are left-wing assholes. Have no doubts. They're busybodies, they're Karens, they get in people's faces, but it looks like Hawaiians, at least in Maui, have had enough. They've had enough of this shit, this discrimination, and also the hypocrisy of their leadership, right? The regular people, local business owners, they're facing what, passport mandate, checks at the door, capacity reductions. We're over 18 months of this, folks. I don't even know how businesses are staying open. I really don't. It is incredible, folks. It's around the world. Whether you're in a giant country, whether you're down under, whether you're on a little island, right? Now, this is a quote about what's going on in Maui. Please help us and spread the word. Hundreds of patriots here in Maui are working hard to wake the people up here. They are asleep. Now, I only wanted to read that to say, folks, people are waking up, but many people are still asleep, and they don't realize the tyranny that they're existing under. They're being lulled to sleep. They're being lulled to sleep by these idiots who want them, everything will be fine, we'll take care of you, here's a little bit of money, be scared, put on your mask. Crazy shit. Now, looks like Lisa sent me a nice little PayPal donation. Thank you very much, Lisa. Says, some gas money for your travels. I listen daily one way or another and appreciate you continue to update, teach, and warn us of what is going on. Lisa, thank you. And that is what I do. And that's what all of this is all about. There's just so much going on, folks. We have to stay up with this. We have to stay up with this. Right now, I mentioned that stupid ass Kamala Harris decided that she's going to have Department of Homeland Secretary Mayorkas do an investigation into all of these terrible law enforcement officers using horses to catch up to and then help capture illegals, right? It's incredible, right? And this jackass, Alejandro Mayorkas, by the way, was in a Senate hearing and told Senator Johnson, the border is closed. The border's closed. Did you know that the border is closed down there? Has he not heard that 200,000 illegal immigrants are entering the United States of America monthly, folks? Monthly. Was he absent that day at illegal immigrant statistics school? I mean, he is supposed to be the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. That's a cabinet level position. Isn't he supposed to know how many people are getting in, but he has the fucking guts? Or is it just the most ignorant balls in the world to tell Senator Johnson, no, the border's closed. Nothing to worry about here. Not a problem at all. Unbelievable, folks. Stunning. Stunning. Now, we've been reporting, we've been talking about, discussing this elite aristocratic mentality of the political class, the super wealthy, the media, entertainment, sports figures, and how they've been running around with no masks, making excuses for themselves, right? Los Angeles, the county health department, their officials say, well, at the Emmys, folks, the maskless people there did not violate the mask mandate that everyone else has to obey because, quote, exceptions were made for Hollywood actors. I did not know a health department could look at somebody based on their ability to act and give them some sort of blessing so that cerveza bug wouldn't affect them. Are you fucking kidding me? I had no idea government had the power to immunize somebody with a blessing. We made an exception for these people, and so now there won't be a super spreader event. Now they're not dangerous. Now it's okay to be without a mask, to hug and kiss everyone, to sneeze and fart on them, I guess. But of course, folks, again, at the Emmys, just like at the awesome gala that AOC attended last week, as long as the little people, the peasants, wear a mask, regardless of vaccination status, folks. The peasants can have vaccines and you still need to wear masks. But I thought the vaccine was going to protect us so that we don't catch the illness, and therefore the masks aren't needed. Well, apparently the real experts, folks, decided you need mandated vaccines and mandated masks and mandated social distancing unless you're an actor, very important person, a VIP, or a sports figure, some kind of celebrity, a huge bureaucrat. Remember, it's Tuesday. Monday, the UN shows up. That's right. These are big time diplomats, and they don't have any mandates. They don't have to be vaccinated. They don't have to have masks. They don't need anything. They don't need jack shit to fly into our country, to get in our Ubers and our taxis and our cabs and our limousines and be transported around the city to their hotels or wherever the fuck they're staying at. And then to come over once again via transportation, maybe even the public transportation system, and then use the UN and no worries at all. I mean, they're probably more at risk of injury from trying to interpret the babbling and bullshitting that President Xi Biden was using. What an embarrassment to our country, to America, to our history, to our forefathers, that this babbling old fool is the president. He's actually making decisions. Number one, he's not making the decision. Someone's helping him out, I think. Okay, Grandpa, sign here. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Exceptions were made for Hollywood actors. Why don't they make an exception for everybody? If they're not dangerous, if it's okay, why not do that for everybody? Just give everyone the blessing. You're cured, you're saved. Hell, I bet if they even charge people $20 for a health department blessing, I bet people would pay it to say, okay, here's your $20. Now leave me the fuck alone. Haven't they cost us enough already? Haven't they? I think so. Folks, there's things that are posted on Patreon. I know you guys, you patrons right now that are here watching this live, watching it daily live, Monday through Friday. All you have to do is sign up at Patreon. $2 a month, 7 cents a day, and you can join us live. But I can't say anything about this Project Veritas federal whistleblower who goes public with some secret recordings. Actually, I just said quite a bit, even though I didn't violate any terms of service or community guidelines. I'm just letting you know that there's some problems out there. I wish I could read the entire gist of the article and give you my opinion on it, but I can't. All I can tell you is the government lies. Nobody can deny that, folks. Nobody, whether we're talking about the Republican rhinos or the left-wing lunatics, all of those people over there, these globalist socialist scumbags, they're liars. Absolute liars. Now, you're gonna love this. I don't know if you heard about this. I did not cover it because I knew this was gonna happen. I did not share it with you because I knew this was gonna happen. There was a picture just popped up on several different news sites. This jackass. He kind of looks like Mike Rowe's uncle, right? This dumbass came out and claimed that in Texas, he is, and it's incredible. This guy has a smile like, hey, I'll give your kids some cookies. He's an abortionist doctor, right? And he admitted in an article that was covered by the Washington Post that he deliberately broke Texas's new abortion law, the heartbeat law, banning procedures. So this guy, Alan Braid, is an OBGYN, obstetrician gynecologist, at the Alamo Women's Reproductive Services in San Antonio. So this dumb motherfucker, not only, folks, is he what I would call morally corrupt and incapable, he's got some problems. He's got 3 problems. Number one, He's a virtue signaling idiot. So he did that article. He came out and he's bragging about the fact that he's breaking the law. Well, to the Washington Post. Except, jackass, you live in Texas, and Texas law is what matters. It doesn't matter what you say to someone in another jurisdiction if you're committing the crime in Texas. It's your ass. And so number two, he didn't realize that he would be sued and prosecuted. He didn't realize that, he didn't see that that was coming. Remember, folks, this guy's a doctor. 8 years higher learning, continuing education, years of practice, and this guy is that fucking retarded. So he's a leftist. He's wasted his entire education because apparently he doesn't know shit about, well, I guess he knows how to perform abortions, doesn't he? So yeah, one, he's a virtue signaling idiot. Two, he didn't realize he would be sued because he's that stupid. And three, see number one rule, that this guy is just a fucking idiot. And he is now going to be sued because in Texas, you can be sued by all parties. It's a very interesting law, and we're going to see how it holds up in court. And apparently lawsuits are being filed by pro-abortion former lawyers. I don't get that part of the article. I don't understand that. Let's see if I can ferret this out. Right, 2 former lawyers in Arkansas and Illinois filed lawsuit against Braid on Monday, both of whom are pro-abortion, making many question if they're attempting to deliberately sabotage the suits to set a precedent. Well, that's what I was kind of concerned about, you know. Setting a precedent. It's possible. We're going to find out, though. But see, these are lawyers, 2 of them, from out of state, from 2 separate states. He can be sued by anybody who catches him doing this. That means everybody can sue him. That means other lawyers, actually intelligent lawyers. Hey, Charlie, sue this guy, this stupid ass virtue signaling baby killer, if you will. Because under Texas law, these are now human beings, babies, living people. And he's killing them under the law, not just our moral code, our individual moral codes of what is right and wrong, but under Texas law. He is now a murderer. That's kind of how I see it, folks. Now, get this. You think I'm done? Oh, fuck no, I'm not anywhere close to being done. You think I've shocked you? Do you think that the explosiveness of today's program is done? Not a fucking chance, folks. Now, Tucker Carlson reveals that a PowerPoint presentation, basically, folks, a computer-generated slideshow. If you don't know what PowerPoint is, it's a computer-generated slideshow. And it was created by the U.S. Army, the United States Army, and it is justifying vaccine mandates. Except that one of the slides lists 7 tenets or guidelines of Satanism. What? No fucking way? No, it's true, folks. And not only is it true, but the U.S. Army confirmed to Tucker Carlson, who covered this on his show, that the slides were real. That's right, folks, the slides are real. But it wasn't approved by Army leadership. Well, who the fuck put this together? Who the hell did approve it? I want name, rank, serial number, and a courts martial. There needs to be an apology to the people of the United States. This is getting out of fucking hand. Unbelievable. Right? Tucker Carlson called Biden's military mandate a takeover of the U.S. military. Tucker obtained PowerPoint slides the military used to convince and pressure service members to get the Jim Jones juice. One of the slides read this, folks, quote, "How many children were sacrificed to Satan for the vaccine?" What? And another slide, of course, listed the 7 tenets of Satanism. Folks, I have to ask a few questions here. This is where I step up and go, what the hell is going on? Why is this sort of stuff appearing now? We were told several years ago that the satanic practice of ritual abuse of children by Comet Ping Pong, pizza loving, hot dog and pizza, spaghetti type people in Washington, D.C., that was all bullshit. That there was no Satanism, even though we saw this witch, abracadabra, mandolin, whatever the fuck her name was, and what, Joe Podesta and Hillary Clinton and all these people that were performing ritual cannibalism at their parties in LA and around the country at the time. We're told, no, there's no Satanism. That's not Satanism. It's something else. It's art. Oh, really? Right? Yeah. Humans laying in fake vats of blood. That's just art. My ass, folks. Now, could this Satanism appearing be part of the same thing that is allowing communism, the communist presence inside the officer corps? And as described yesterday, that cadet at West Point, West Point's an Army military college, folks, West Point, that an officer there had inside of his hat, take his hat off and show you the inside, took a picture, and the inside said, communism will win. And then he gave the old fist pump, raised fist of communist power. Could it be that communism and all manner of evil is coming into the military? And that's why these 7 tenets of Satanism, that is how to be a good scumbag, evil bastard, showed up in a PowerPoint presentation? Could it be that the drag queen, trans, LGB agenda is showing its dildo butt monkey story time self as evil? We've covered all this stuff, folks. It's not going away. The military in our country is being destroyed. And the military, the good men and women in the military, folks, Americans, patriots, they are sick to their stomach with what is happening. Folks, and evil is no longer afraid to hide, and it's proclaiming itself openly day after day. So what is causing this? Where's this coming from, right? Do we need Dana Carvey, the church lady, to come out and say, could it be Satan? Yeah, just evil, folks. Satan means adversary. Satan means adversary. It is unbelievable what's going on. When I saw this, I thought, this is explosive. And only Tucker Carlson covers it. The hypocrisy of political leaders. And I hate to use that word political leaders, but I use it only to point out how idiotic they are for even thinking that they're leaders. Is that it? Is that enough of me? Oh, but wait, there's more. Time for a prepared mind perspective moment. Get this, folks. A large group of BLM activists in New York City are protesting the mandates. They chant, cancel car mines, right? Stupid fucking Antifa and BLM. They don't want the government mandating vaccines? Well, folks, that's what communists do. They mandate everything. They tell you what the law is and isn't on a daily basis. They make dictatorial demands as communists and murder those who oppose them. That's what communism does. But millennial tards, who make up the vast majority of BLM and Antifa, as well as a contingent of centennials, that is, young idiots the age of my children, ages, I think, 12 to 24 or some shit. These people, folks, they're tards. And they seem to think that communism is about free lunches and being violent anarchists and being allowed to do whatever they want as long as they're mad at the fascists, right? Folks, that is why socialists, that is why tyrannical socialists, Nazis and communists, folks, they're all socialists. Nazis, communists are way over here on the political left. They are socialists. So that is why tyrannical socialists kill, murder, dispose of their radicalized youths once they have established their power. We've talked about this. And I've said BLM, Antifa, the government knows who they are, and they will get rid of them the moment they become unuseful. The moment their useless idiot status is apparent and they serve no purpose. Because they do not want, just like the Soviet Russians, just like the Chinese communists, just like the Nazi German fascists, They did not want radical idiots to change their minds once they saw what it is they got. They think they're getting some kind of utopian dream, and then they find out, fuck, that's what we just fought for? So they don't want them to change their minds and set a bad example to the other sheepy people out there who are falling in line. Nor do they want these young people to revolt against the new communist and fascist regimes when they realize what a huge fucking mistake they made. Folks, communism creates murder. Fascism creates murder. They use murder to get their way, and then they murder those to get them out of the way. And these idiot BLM activists are now starting to show that they are not any longer useful to the administration. They better start doing their talking, huh? They better start figuring out what side they're on. Folks, you can't be BLM and you can't be Antifa and then say, no, I'm for free market economies and rights and the Constitution. These people are ruined for life. They've been indoctrinated. They've been propagandized. And third, folks, they've taken action on behalf of their masters. It's one thing to hear some information. It's another thing to be programmed with it. But when people have gone out and committed these horrendous acts and joined these groups, they cannot be trusted ever again. I used to say, I wonder why these little college girls with Antifa and these little radical leftist groups like to wear masks over their faces. And so at one point, if their little plans don't work out, I guess they'll get to take that mask off and marry some hardworking capitalist, right? And pretend to be Susie Homemaker and pretend that she never was a radical little communist bitch. Same with the men, folks. They're a bunch of communist bitches as well. I have nothing for them, nothing good for them. Absolutely incredible. I've got more to talk about, folks, but I understand this, right? It's your turn. It's your turn. I get the first half of the hour. You guys get the second half, and it's time for Q&A.
Are you ready?
All right. Well, we got Jolene in the house. Yeah, it looks like she's here. So let's see what we got. What do you guys want to talk about? It's now time for you to direct the show on Patreon every day. Pow. Now, I love Sunday Night Live. Started as Saturday Night Live, became Sunday Night Live. I love that. But here on Patreon, it's a little more civil. It's not the zoo. It's a little more relaxed. But the questions are just as powerful. Let's see. We got Opie Waddell, and he says, John, we had some kittens born yesterday. We are naming one of them Buck Fiden. Can't wait to take him for his shots at the vet to register his name in the system. You know what? That could be considered animal cruelty. You need to be very careful out there. Little one for you there, Orlando. That's good. There is going to be a lot that comes out of this. Now, what I don't know, I can't say for sure, is are we going to win this? To me, in my head, it's so obvious how wrong and stupid the political leftists are. It's so obvious that they're idiots. And up in Washington, D.C., they're a bunch of losers. It's easy for me to see that. It's easy for me to see how the system would fail. It's easy for me to see how it's going to cause conflict, violence, and how people who are opposed to communism and its murderous ways would fight this. Same with fascism. We're going to fight it. Right? Fascism is better, though, at being sneaky, at promising a little bit of money, giving a little bit of power if you just do your job. And that's the little hook and carrot that they put out there to get government workers and police officers to just keep doing your job, kind of like they're doing down in Australia. Except now up here in the United States of America, starting to figure out, hey, we're being used, we're being shit on, kind of like Kamala Harris shitting all over the border agents who are just trying to do their job and protect the fucking country. And they're finding out, well, wait a minute, the people hate us, The government is criticizing us. They want to investigate us for doing our job, using horses to run down and catch up to these people so that we can arrest them and take them out of our country. And we're the bad guys, while this lying piece of shit continues to be a hypocritical loser, talking about the vice president. Yeah, wake up, cops. Wake up, federal agents. Wake up, everybody. They're mandating unconstitutional edicts. This is the United States of America, Jack. All right. We got Two Owls checks in and says, is the censorship trying to reduce us to pop culture preppers? Would you define this term, pop culture preppers? I can do that to a degree. They started trying to make preppers a kind of a pop culture item with their TV shows, right? Doomsday Preppers. That was the big one. And they wanted to kind of popularize the idea while at the same time demeaning it and degrading it, showing people who had money and no fucking brains. Other people had brains, I get it. Some of them were just a bunch of fucking dumbasses. And they wanted to use that platform, right, to popularize the idea that it's a lunatic fringe. So censorship is trying to reduce us in another way by taking away the things that make us edgy and the things that make us accurate in our description of what's going on, right? Because I have to say cerveza bug, and people tune in and go, what the fuck is that? And I say Jim Jones juice or Kool-Aid or tequila shot, right? Or the hokey pokey, and right, we got to use these fucking terms. And but a lot of people won't even use the terms, right? They can't talk about it all. So now it's just back to, well, get this food and use this knife in case something bad happens, which I can't talk about. So at the Prepared Mind, we really, right? I say you need food. Better have it. Better have at least 3 months. At least 3 months for everyone in your household. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You've got to be able to defend yourself. And I'll give you the reasons why. Right? So it's not just, hey, look at this shiny gun, I'm a prepper. It's not just, this bowl of oatmeal is delicious, I'm a prepper. You know, I live out in the country because I live in the city because I'm a prep. You know, yeah, they want to make it generic, blasé. They want to make it, you know, you're using the term pop culture, meaning popular, right? They still want to downplay it and keep us held down. Right? They want to make it pretty fucking vanilla. I want to take you guys right off of their vanilla plantation and show you how ugly it can get. There will be violence. There will be cannibalism. There will be a big problem, folks. This morning, the R Syndicate and I were exchanging ideas. And one of the ideas is that there's going to be three potential conflicts, yes, with preppers themselves. Number one, and I'm going to call these forces rogue, meaning they're unconstitutional. They are unlawfully engaging with Americans. They're rogue, okay? Unlawfully engaging rogue government agencies and troops that are likely to come into conflict with patriotic Americans. That's number one. Another group that is going to come into conflict with patriotic Americans will be these illegals, whether they are the Haitians or Mexicans or any others streaming across the southern border, or whether I'm talking about the Afghanis and other terrorist factions that are in this country, right? So rogue agencies and terror organizations operating. And the third is the partisan conflict. That is Americans facing off with Americans because you didn't get the Jim Jones juice, because you won't do as you're told, because you oppose critical race theory, because you're a white supremacist, Nazi, Republican, Trump supporting fascist, right? That's what they're coming at us with, folks. We have the potential to face three different enemies, all of them anti-American, all of them truly domestic enemies. And all of them we truly have a right to oppose as free Americans under the Declaration of Independence. Have you got that? Amy Coney Barrett, The Declaration of Independence put the government of England on notice, and that document stands as evidence that those rights exist and have pre-existed the United States, Washington, D.C., little corporate pile of shit government. Still, it still exists. They can even go burn the actual piece of paper, and it still exists because it's written on our hearts. All right, we got PNW Prepper with a question. He says, hearing a lot of talk about October 2nd and how October is go time. Have you heard anything about it, John? Well, I tell you what, every single month we hear that next month things are going to get nasty, things are going to get bad. And I'm not making fun of you. Not making fun of you. This should be a lesson to us. How many years did we hear during the Trump administration when it was lawfully in Washington, D.C.? How many years did we hear next week, next week, next week, next month, next week, next month, tomorrow, at the end of the week, Friday? Kind of like with this Maricopa County tax audit out of Arizona. I remember 2 months ago them saying, next week we're going to release some information. I mean, things are getting nasty, things are getting done, but we're not going to get there's no solution by next week. And as far as an event occurring, it happens when it happens. And it doesn't happen when you and I want it to happen. It won't happen when you and I are ready and prepared. It's going to happen when the people in power decide it's time for them to pull the trigger to make things happen. That's when we know it's time, is when they are ready for it to happen, when they need it to happen. Right now, Joe Biden is a complete bumbling idiot. The American government, and indeed the country, looks ridiculous and stupid. The world is laughing at our country. And I keep thinking they're going to have to pull this guy. It's like the quarterback, he's thrown 3-4 interceptions in the first quarter, right? He keeps fumbling the ball. He doesn't do anything right. They just keep backing up. And now they're on the goal line. You pull the quarterback, right? Put in someone competent. Jesus, right? Well, guess what? If you want America destroyed, if you want America to look bad, if you want America to lose its allies, piss off its allies, and make enemies out of people who were once allies, if you want the military to lose respect for its leadership, in other words, demoralize the military, demoralize the people of America, then that's exactly what you do, is you keep Biden in there. I keep hearing that he's going to be pulled, right? He needs to be pulled, and I think that myself, but only because I want America fixed. I want something better than what we've got. So it's like, get that guy out of here. But for those who want to take our order, our law and order, and make chaos, they're getting exactly what they want by letting people come from the South, by flying people in who are the enemies of America, the Taliban. That's right, folks. The Taliban is here, and they've been flown in under the cover, the guise of Afghanistan. Kind of like the bank robbers who take all the hostages in a crowded bank, get sacks full of money, and shove the money down in their pants, and then they light off a smoke bomb. Everyone runs out the door, scared to death, all of the people and also all of the bank robbers. And they want to run and get through the crowd and get out of the police and go hide and escape with all their money, right? In a massive emergency with all the confusion, they escape. In Afghanistan, in all the confusion, all the fear, all the stupidity, the Taliban sends their little warriors in with the other Afghanis to get on American planes, outnumber Americans 19-1, and fly out of Afghanistan and into the United States of America with no papers, no ability to check, because they're like, well, it was an emergency. There was a lot of smoke in the air. Things were bad. Hey, the military left our country and abandoned it. It's not my fault I don't have proper paperwork. Of course, they're saying this with very bad accents, because they're not Americans. And so they're allowed to be here. It is a fucking mess. All right, we got Mick in the UK. He says, what will happen to us? No Jim Jones juice if the people who have taken the Jim Jones juice start dropping like flies all around us. in line with the GG Stones, that's the Georgia Guidestones, population reduction recommendation. Do we, the ones left standing, become their bitch slaves? That's a fantastic question, right? We're looking around us, and a lot of people say that, well, if you take the Kool-Aid, if you drink the Kool-Aid, and you know, you've taken a great chance. The population reduction crowd that is watching that are like, uh-oh, right? If they get 3/4 of the world to take this stuff, people are going to drop like flies. Maybe some will survive and others will drop. Maybe those who detox themselves will survive, but most of them will die, or some of them will die. We're going to have a huge reduction in population. Are they giving Americans a different version of the Jim Jones juice than those in India, China, other countries? In fact, China doesn't seem to be having a problem, folks, right now. Country with about 1/5 of the world population isn't having much of a problem with cerveza bug. Makes me wonder, right? Anyways, let's get back to the question at hand. What happens to the people who do survive? Right? What government will there be if we've had a huge catastrophic loss of population? Will we just say, geez, now that all these people are dying who made the ridiculous mistake, why don't we listen to the leadership who continues to make ridiculous mistakes and just go the way of communism? I think they're making a huge miscalculation, and they do it quite often, the bad guys. Everyone underestimates or miscalculates to some degree when you look at a complex formula such as this. Getting power for the power elite is not 1 + 1 = 2. It's not that easy. It's you got to take down the Constitution, you got to destroy America, which means you have to reduce the morale and you have to watch the military. You have to make sure the enemies don't come in and destroy anything, but you need enough of them let in to make things worse. We need to export all the economy, right? There's so many pieces to this puzzle. It's not simple. And so it's easy to miscalculate. We're going to find out the consequences, folks. You know, consequences. We got Big Country checking in, says, hey, John, Port of Savannah currently has 1 driver for every 8 containers unloaded. If nothing changes by December, it will be 1 for 20. Also, a guy worked for Cisco, which is a food company. Guy who worked for Cisco is not getting enough food to fill orders. He's stressed stacking food. Also, I know, long topic, Fed propping stacks. The Federal Reserve is propping up stock markets after yesterday because of Evergrande. All right, you touched on a lot of topics here. Let's start with Evergrande, if you will. Go ahead and leave that up, Jolene. I may have you go backwards, though. I've got a couple different ways to look at Evergrande, which is the Chinese version of Lehman Brothers, an investment firm. It's 5 times as big and 5 times as fucked up. And basically, they crashed today. Now, that's the news story I had to talk about. Well, Ray Dalio came out and said, look, Evergrande has crashed. It's done. But it can be propped up by China just the same way the United States government props up our stocks and bonds. Yeah, they're buying stocks, they're buying bonds, they're buying debt, they're buying equities, they're buying mortgage packages, they're buying whatever it takes. In other words, they're printing money, printing press. So all these people that thought the stock market was going to crash because of Evergrande, they've already got the system in place to kick the can down the road. I'm just going, the system's crashed. Literally, the system has crashed. It's down. The stock markets, the banks, all of these things are on life support. That's really what this is, life support. Unless it's a real industry, it is a fake industry. Unless it really makes something like, let's just say, a copper mine makes copper, something useful, a product that they can determine the value of, and it goes into making electronics and wiring and other useful things, copper. You take a worthless company that no one's buying the stock of, but they need it to be propped up, you know, so they do that. They buy up all the stocks and make it look like it's prosperous, it's doing well. China does the same thing. So we've got a problem, right? The Fed is propping up stocks. Yeah, Evergrande, you bet. Now to get back to food. Yeah, there's a food problem, folks. It's not that we can't grow the food. It's not that we can't raise the livestock. It's not that we can't process the food and process the livestock and get it out there in a timely fashion. It's not that we can't do that. It's that the companies that do this and the government are trying to create an artificial shortage. They've created a labor shortage, which is resulting in labor among many sectors of the economy. But normally we talk about restaurants, but we can talk about trucking. There's a shortage of truckers to take containers out of the seaports and deliver them. Where are all the truckers? Where are they? Where are the delivery drivers? Well, how many of them are sitting at home collecting a paycheck from the government? You're not going to hear from them. They're not going to stand out on the street corner and say, I'm collecting free money for doing nothing. I'm sitting on my fat, lazy ass and I've got Cheeto dust buried in my chest hair so deep I can't scrub it out. Right? You're not going to hear them say that. And if someone is still getting checks and they shouldn't, you think they're going to stand up and go, hey, I'm continuing to get free checks even though they were supposed to be canceled. Someone is giving these fucking people money. Now, another part of the problem is people are going, you know what? I'm going to go live with mom and dad, or maybe mom and dad are saying, I'm going to go live with my kids, and they're starting to consolidate so they can live less expensively. There's problems, folks. There are big problems in what's going on. All right. I think that basically covered it. Thank you very much there, Big Country. Yeah, we got problems, folks. We have problems all around the country, all around the world. We got Jenny Jen checking in. Hey, Jen. Says, regarding Project Veritas, I'm sharing with my nurse friends at the Res Health Clinic. I'm hoping this spreads like wildfire with more people in those positions following suit. Okay, I cannot really talk about Project Veritas and the results that they have discovered. I can talk about it, but I have to be extremely careful. Okay. Project Veritas has released yet one more. Was this it? I just know that what Project Veritas is proving is true, folks. You're gonna have to go into the link section and find the Project Veritas thing. I wish I could talk about it, Jen. I just can't, because it has to do with the subject that is absolutely horrifying what the government is doing. But I'm not allowed to talk about it, or it could be labeled misinformation, even though it is a whistleblower event, right? There's secret recordings, folks, from a whistleblower about not reporting things because of the time it takes to report, because hospitals don't get money, whatever it is, folks. I just can't talk about it, but the importance of it though, Jen. Yeah. And please head to the clinic there, talk to everyone. If we all, folks, went to the clinic, the urgent care, the hospital, the ER, and talk to people we know, family, friends, and say, what the hell is this? Listen to this. I mean, didn't we hear from the Israelis that they're trying to force the Vax Passport idea just to scare people into going and getting the Jim Jones juice? You know, I mean, this is all mass hysteria, mass propaganda in order to control people's behavior and decisions. That's what this is all about. All right, we got Brando checks in. He says, I am new to prepping. It's me, my wife, and 2 young boys, trying to find resources of some sort to get started on food preps. What is top priority to get started, and what can I buy weekly? We are on a budget living, but have some savings and trying to pay off all debt. Could you steer me on a path to get a weekly plan together to get started? Thank you very much for your videos. I wait daily for them so I can catch up on the SHTF, Wishing I had started sooner to be more ready, but a start is better than nothing. And I wonder, Brando, how many people are in the position you're in right now? Having recently been red-pilled, woken up over the last year slowly and realized, oh shit, I need to get going. You've got 4 of you in the family. That's what I had. I had, me, the wife, and 2 boys. I don't have that. They all grew up, but we prepped. You need to think in terms of availability of products. That's starting to get tighter, and the expense. If you're on a budget, my recommendation is to get a lot of beans and a lot of rice. That covers your simple sugars, starches. That covers some basic plant proteins. Of course, stay away from soy. Anything soy. You can get quite a few of your daily calories from those starches. Same with potato flakes, right? So you've got a variety of useful things. That's your energy, right? But we as human beings also need fats, animal fat. We're omnivores. We need meat. And my recommendation there is to get the cheapest meat you can, and storable meat. You can get meats in cans. A recommendation I have is to have a minimum 3 months worth of food, and you actually get there pretty quick. But if there is a discount food store in your town, this is where you drop the shame and just go, fuck it, I don't care. The store looks kind of funky, seems kind of run down. They have a strange selection. I've got a fancy grocery store that way, folks. And I've got a discount store this way. Guess where I shop? Guess. Because I want the most bang for my buck, right? Yeah, so you can get meats in cans. There are other meats, and I recommend using your freezer. You can get like pork loins, Smithfield's pork loins, pretty cheap. You can get a lot of things cheap. Hamburger is very versatile. It is beef. It's got a lot of fat in it. I mean, you can get 80-20. You can get 90-10. You can get different percentages of fat, but there's a lot of flavor in it. There's a lot of nutrition in it, and it can be prepared and used in a ton of different applications, food applications, right? I'm talking about recipes, applications, all the same stuff. But I don't want to under stress the the need for water. Get water filtration devices, even if it's a life straw, or several of them, one for each of you, and have life straws, the ability to filter water. In fact, look up water filtration systems that you can build yourself on a budget with 5-gallon buckets, getting some bags of sand. And then, of course, if you can't purify it with chlorine dioxide or other chemical treatments, bleach, chlorine, if you can't do that, then you boil the water to kill all the pathogens. But I recommend the really high quality filters, if you can get them, like the Life Straw, because you want to remove not only the pathogens, you want to, if you can, remove any chemicals that may be in the water, chemicals and dissolved pharmaceuticals and other junk. That's why we recommend the Berkey water filter at thepreparedmind.club. We recommend getting that by going there to the Patriot Supply site and then buying one of those. Now back to food. Vegetables you can buy, you can dry out, you can buy freeze-dried vegetables, and they're more expensive, right? But you can buy them. You can also make your own. You can also can your own vegetables, and that's highly recommended. But back to just food in general, you're going to need about 2,000 calories per person per day. Kids, of course, a little less, but for those who are going to be working hard, 2,000 calories is a good number. Figure it out. How many calories in a cup of rice? Okay, but spices. Don't underestimate the value and purpose of spices. Remember, and I love pointing this part of history out, is Marco Polo traveled from Europe through the Middle East, through the Silk Road, all the way to China, India, Far East, to get spices because food tasted like shit. So having different recipes and variety is really important. It's really important. So spices are incredible. You can have Southern spices, Cajun spices. You can get European spices, Asian spices, Mexican spices. And so the same food can taste a dozen different ways, and you need a lot of spices. Another thing having to do with meat. Say you get you fill your freezer full of meats, and then the power goes out. You're like, oh shit, what do I do? Well, number one, frozen meats stay frozen days and days and days. In some cases, weeks, depending on the time of year and how cool the ambient temperature is. But the point is that it will go bad if it unfreezes and then it doesn't stay refrigerated. You can cook meat, whether it's pork, chicken, turkey, ham, beef, whatever, right? By turning it into jerky. So learn how to dry meats as a form of preservation by removing all the water out of it. You remove all the water and it's fully cooked. And now you no longer have to worry about flies, bugs, or anything, or mold and stuff growing on your meat. Just needs to be dried and fully cooked. And so now it's preserved and you can cut it off. You can put it back into a stew and it'll rehydrate, soften up, and of course, release all its delicious, good meat flavors into your water and rice and beans. And then you throw some vegetables in there. Folks, that's how people used to live. Now, here's another thing. If you're on a budget, and many of us are, you know, we're not fucking rich. You're on a budget, plant a garden. If you're in a nice warm climate and the soil is right and you know what you're doing, you can plant potatoes and get potatoes year round and other roots. You know, sugar beets, potatoes, turnips, radishes, carrots, shit that grows underground and is, you know, very hardy, can grow in the fall, can grow in the spring. So you've got to figure out the area you're in, what grows well there, and then how much do you need to plant in order to sustain your family. And there's your vegetables again. You got meats, you got rice, beans, potato, you know, prepared, dried, and stored already, but you should be thinking about growing other food in the event things go wrong. Now, also in the event the economy continues to suck, and it looks like it's going to, having access to homegrown goods is going to save you money. And that's a good thing in the long run. We're going to be visiting times of hyperinflation in this country. It's coming. We're dealing with it, in my opinion, right now, even though it's being hidden. Right? Since I moved to this location here where the bunker's at, since I moved here, when I came back from the RMZ, I got the fuck back from the RMZ back in November of 2020. Right, gas has gone up 50%. Gasoline, 50% or more where I'm at right now. Incredible, 50% in 1 year. I would like to make 50% on my retirement portfolio, which consists of rice and beans. Anyways, yeah, get prepared, folks. Hey, chance favors the prepared mind, right? Is yours? It's a great question to ask. And welcome to all new preppers. Welcome to all new subscribers. Spread the word, share these videos so everyone else gets to hear it. They're waking up still, folks. It's a lot of sheep, but a lot of the sheep are yawning, you know, kind of waking up, sheepy. It's time. It's go time. All right, are you guys still here? What the hell's going on? I fooled everyone. Jolene checked off. Everyone else checked off. I'm still here. I just played some of the commercials, some of the new stuff. Mr. T is coming up with some more of those things. Yeah, had to do it, Yankee. Had to save all the commercials to the very end. Just having some fun though, and I wanted to see how many people stick around through all that shit. You know, the fuck are we supposed to do with these people, huh? No, you know, there was a joke when I was a kid, had to do with Ronald Reagan. I thought it was funny because it was a joke and it was dirty, but you know, why is Nancy Reagan always on top during sex? It's because Ronnie can only fuck up, you know. So I mean, this is what's going on. This is what we got. So hey, Jen, I wish I could have answered your question, Jen. It's just, you know, what the fuck, you know. If I say one word, just one fucking word, right? Worse than kindergarten or fifth grade or eighth grade, you know, where you say one word and you get to go to the detention. It's all good. I know it's all good, Jen. Anyways, wanted to goof with you guys a little bit afterwards. See who stuck around. It is 2 owls. It's getting fucking ridiculous out there. Blue Cord Devil, Mr. Lord. You guys, what the fuck, huh? What the hell's going on? I mean, how long, I keep getting this question, how long until the people stand up for themselves? It hasn't gotten bad enough. There's not enough hungry people out there. There's not enough pissed off people out there. You know, and in the area I'm in, it's not so bad because it's America, they're free, shit like that. But I know there's areas of the country where it's getting fucked up, like New York City. Someone asked for someone's vaccine passport, and they got the ever-loving shit kicked out of them. You know, and it's people are really drawing sides. I'm hearing reports from different states, getting people from different states saying that the shelves are getting lower in the stores, that people are starting to be very suspicious of each other. You know, to the contrary here, people are looking at each other going, you're an American, I can tell. And so they talk nicely to each other. But there are assholes here. Robert Wilson, yes, sir. Australians, they are basically revolting at this point. Well, I don't want to use the word revolting. You could call it revolting light, I guess. But they're at the point where they are being disobedient and it's becoming violent. And because Australia has been so heavy-handed, I won't be surprised if the government violence level isn't increased massively. At some point, the people say, you know what? The government works for the people. It doesn't own the people. And I don't know where that line is. We're going to find out in the 21st century. Where is that fucking line? Right? A couple hundred years ago, you go around punching old women in the face and knocking them down and breaking their hips. You're going to get shot on the spot. Today, you know, people are like, someone else will take care of it. Someone else will take care of it. Maybe this is it, Robert. Yeah. Well, I did see that, Robert. I did see the part about chasing cops and fucking them up after months of lockdown. That's true. It's very true. I'm talking about more of a general behavior rather than specific individuals. But people aren't hungry enough. People think someone else is going to take care of it. When they get hungry, when they get tired of being beat up, and when they see no one else is coming to their rescue, then it changes. But there was a video that was out there, and I passed it around to a number of people about this guy. He just basically went fucking berserker on everyone. And he's just running down the street, plowing into cop after cop, doing some, I think it was released as Jason Bourne, because he was using some fucking badass martial arts moves. You know, clotheslining these fucking guys. I couldn't see his legs really well, but I could see some judo trick moves in there. The guy was trained, and he was running through the street, and the cameraman, interestingly enough, probably noticed him, what he was doing, and started following him specifically. Whether he ran left or right, the cameraman was following, because this guy was fucking people up. When people lose hope, they end up losing their minds too. Australia is starting to see this. You know, I don't like any of this shit. Anyways, Robert, yeah, you are absolutely right. Disobedience and civil disobedience, it's coming. And that's why you're right, Robert. We need to be organized now. We really do. We need to be organized. Again, I'm not doing the call to arms. I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. But I am saying you better get organized, because at some point, right, we're going to see that here. And while I may be safe here, and Robert may be safe there, and Jen will be safe in extreme Northern California, there's going to be areas where you aren't necessarily safe, and where you may need to mobilize your plan and have it ready within the day or within the hour even, depending on what's going on. A lot of times, like with the protests in 2020, we knew they were coming. We absolutely knew they were coming. We heard about it. Someone reported it. It got passed around social media, text messages, and people went out and greeted these left-wing bastards to let them know they weren't appreciated. Right? But when it happened in my town, where Jen is from, within the hour, the stupid started. Now, it wasn't stupid on the stupid was their part, pushing this BLM, Black Lives Matter, on a community that didn't have anything to do with the problem. The problem is criminals refusing to obey the law and thinking they're special because they claim they can't breathe. And again, St. George Floyd was claiming he couldn't breathe before the cops even arrested him. I mean, that's just, it's so asinine. I think the cop, whatever, Derek Chauvin, he looks like an asshole. His attitude is that of an asshole. And sadly, he got treated as if he did something wrong. All I noticed was that he was trying to arrest the guy when he was in the process of dying from an overdose, right? Now, see, I would probably be more upset, or visibly upset, if I knew who the cop was and knew he was a good guy, and then saw him get screwed over by a system hell-bent on providing social equity and justice. This is the America, folks. That type of stupidity could just happen all over again, and you could have, like I said, a whole day, maybe a couple of days, or you could have only a couple hours. So yeah, being well-planned, well-practiced, and well-organized is just going to be critical. Two Owl says, that's why I asked yesterday if my town could blockade itself off, what would happen to us? We are kind of remote enough. In a lot of cases, being remote is its own best tool. Like if you live in a town that has 2 highways or 3 highways intersecting at it or through it, right, it's pretty easy to blockade it off and protect it. Now, maybe if you've got those 2 or 3 highways coming in and 2 or 3 highways going out, there's only one of them, though, that comes from the direction of a major city. Coming from the other directions, it's other small towns, other remote areas, not a big deal. But you want to make sure right, the highway that's 50 miles, say, from, let's pick a city, fucking Kansas City, right? Say you're 50 miles north of Kansas City, there's one highway that leads out to your rural area. You're probably going to want to keep an eye on that road, right? And it's going to be fucked up, because these are going to be, a lot of cases, real Americans trying to get to places of freedom or safety, or their bunkers or their bug out locations, and they're going to meet people along the way who want to protect themselves, and they're going to roadblock roads. They're going to dig roads up. They're going to drop trees across roads, right? And it's going to make traveling difficult. It just depends on how bad, the severity of everything. And this is just really thinking about, what could happen, knowing the people in your community and their mentality. Thank you, John Lord, man, doing the gambler, the Kenny Rogers. Yeah. See, now Yankee Watchdog has got one highway through a mountain valley. It's easy to take those out. Where I was at, we had a desert road. We had a mountain road. We had a city road, highways, all highway systems leading to it. And in every case, I knew people that said that they were going to ensure that the road became either impassable or very difficult to get through. for the purpose of screening those who were showing up and making sure they weren't assholes. Hey, Bernard, what's happening, brother? Appreciate everything you do. We got Charles here. Charles Gentry just started here on live chat. Hi, John. Semper Fi, brother. Love the show. Mr. T's work is great. When do we Patriots start flying Old Glory in distress position? Charles, people have been flying Old Glory in distress since 2013 when I started the channel, man. It was one of the early topics I talked about. If you see the flag flying upside down, it's because there's a problem. I've seen the American flag flown upside down since the fall of Saddam Hussein, when the second Gulf War. The flag was put up upside down. There's been problems in our country, folks, for decades. It's just, what position are you in? What are you seeing? Back in the 80s when I was a jarhead, late 80s, that era. I enlisted back in the late 80s through the early 90s. But people, it was fucked up. The military was in distress then, as far as I was concerned. Not enough to fly the flag upside down, but there's problems, and they've been persistent and persisted. Anyways, you guys be cool. What I'm going to do is shut this fucking thing down. I need to get some food and rest and relax my brain. I've had, like you guys, I'm inundated with information all the time. And what do we do? And what do we do? And what do we do? It's not a good situation. All right. Yep. It's like chill mode, just taking it down a notch, But thank you, Jen. I will. What I'm going to do is just rest and relax a little bit. Then I'll start answering my emails and my text messages, and I'll start doing more research and looking into what's going on with the economy. Look what's going on with the military. Look what's going on with the illegals, with the potential war with China. What's going on in fucking Europe. Over there, they're just absolutely insane. Australia is a big one. Right, like it's the end of the day for us here in America. East Coast is 5:30, West Coast is 2:30. Australia is basically just starting. Right, it's just starting in Australia. They're about ready to fucking go nuts. Right, their action starts when our day ends. It's time zones, right? So do all you can, folks. Robert Wilson says my flags are upside down, and there's good cause. There's good reason to be. You're welcome, Two Owls. I wish, one of the things I want to do is I want to do the world tour with you guys. I'm just not going to go out there in a time like this. I don't have the resources and the time and everything else, but I do want to do the world tour and schedule events. I don't know if it needs to get worse or get better before I go out and say, hey, I'm coming to Charleston, South Carolina, or hey, I'm coming to Greenbow, Alabama, or I'm going to be near New Orleans, or I'm going to be in Texas, and say where I'm at and give people a couple of days notice, and then say, once I start a tour, everyone's going to know I'm out, and they're going to want to know when I'm going to be there. But I'd like to meet all you guys. It would be great to get up north. I mean, UMAN held a private event. Others hold private events where they're getting together. I would love to attend those. But I'm not going into any Democrat states. I won't go north. I won't go into a state that doesn't honor my concealed weapons permit, or the concealed weapons permits, or open carry that's allowed, so that there's a level of protection we have. Because I'm certain there are many enemies that if they discovered we were going to have a public get together, they would probably want to spoil it. And I'm not up to that shit. Yeah, Jen used to show up at the watering hole, and we could have talks. That was great. Those were the days. It's weird how bad we thought things were 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but compared to today, it seemed like good times. I look back to the 90s, talk about good times, right? Bear Lake, where they had the last one in 1837. What was in 1837? MV has open carry, John. MV. What is MV? Envy Nevada. Yeah, I do love Nevada, but it's being overrun by those fucking liberals out of California. You know, as well as conservatives leaving California. You have a lot of liberals too. That's why Nevada is becoming a blue state, because the liberals do such a good job destroying California. They think that they should share and share alike in proper communist fashion. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to do this. I'll check out. You guys, hey, be cool. I love you all. And I'll be back tomorrow. I guarantee it is a mix of both, Jen, but geez, you know, too many damn liberals. It's fucked up. They've done a great job of fucking this country up. Be cool.